on the Bengals versus the Ravens. Ravens ended up winning this game 27-24 in the 1 o'clock hour. Lamar Jackson had 237 yards, 2 TDs, 54 yards rushing. Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals offense looked a little bit better from week one. Burrow was 27 for 41, 222 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 int. But they still came up short by about a field goal and couldn't get a stop late in the fourth to get the ball back to possibly try to score. And sort of my takeaways, if you know this, if you've been following along with 710 Sports, Jack and I disagreed. It's one of the few games we disagreed on. He did take the Bengals this week. And I'll be honest, a lot of experts did also take the Bengals. I was looking at the ESPN picks, and I'd say about 90% of the expert picks took the Bengals. Sort of a bounce back game, I think, as you were saying, earlier in the week, right, Jack? But some of us did take the Ravens, like myself. And frankly, this isn't new news. Some people at this point are going to start to sound the alarms about the Bengals. But guys, I was sounding the alarms already before the season started. Okay, I said that this is not a playoff team, right? And at this point, you need to get out of the house because I smell smoke. Okay, 0-2, and especially
in
losing
division,
to
both
in division and losing to the Browns the way they did. I understand that Joe Burrow isn't 100%, and Cincinnati can come to a slow start, but once again, they refuse to rush the ball. This is the second week in a row. Mixon has 4.5 yards a carry, and they only have 14 rushes as opposed to 41 passes, right? And this is going to be something we're going to talk about over and over again. But if you don't establish the run, and Joe Burrow just wants to bomb, passes deep, then they're going to struggle, and they're going to continue to struggle. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one piece because this game, then you could think of it almost as being closer than it looks. As wasn't one of the Bengals' touchdowns, I think, was a punt return for a touchdown, if I remember right. I think I saw that.
Yep.
Which is even that's like they needed that. They still lost by a field goal. That is definitely a thing. And yeah, the run game, Joe Mixon's getting some pretty good yards per carry. Last year, yeah, there were a lot of games with some like 2.9 yards a carry, 3.1. There was a lot in that zone. Second game in a row, like you said, 4.5 a carry, right? It's a very niche point, but it is smart to nail on because it shows the game plan. It's what can the opposing defense prepare for? If they only need to be ready for Joe Mixon to get 13 carries, some guy I haven't heard of to get one. What is that? Chase Brown to get one carry, and Burrow ran it once. Like that. They barely have to prepare for the run. And this isn't just a matter of, the Bengals were down the whole game, and which, yes, they were, but it was 13 to 10 at half. It's not like, it's not like the Bengals were at any point really in this game down by that much. Even going into the fourth quarter, it was 20 to 17. Like they were relatively at pace, the Bengals with the Ravens. They just never ran the ball. It is definitely an oversight, a thing to take note of, I should say.
Yeah, like we said, it was a grinded out game, and it just feels like the Bengals, they just weren't. Even if it was close, it just didn't feel like they were all the way in it. I'll say that the Ravens lost Odell Beckham Jr. and the Ravens offense. I mean, I'm not sure what anyone is expecting out of them. I said this last week, but we haven't really seen the same 2019 Baltimore Ravens offense. Lamar doesn't rush as much as he used to, and he just doesn't seem as explosive. But
and this is a Bengals team without Jesse Bates, one of the great safety who I think was on their teams past couple of years, is now on the Falcons, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, even to highlight again, this Bengals defense I would think should be weaker than past years, if anything.
Right. Right. But you know what? They did score. Ravens ended up scoring 27, which is pretty good, I would say. So, I think Ravens should just be happy with the win. But once again, listen, I've been banging this drum, and it's one of those takes that it could go sour, but it's starting to look pretty sweet right now. All right, with this Bengals, they don't quite have it. All right, so let's just jump really quickly to Chiefs Jags. Right, we had the Kansas City Chiefs end up in a real defensive battle. Some would say 17-9 against the Jags. The Jaguars never score a TD in this one, and frankly, it was just a real slow game, and we both picked Kansas City here in a bounce back. But I think I know I predicted that this would be a shootout, and it really could be, and
Yeah.
it ended up being the exact opposite. And general thoughts on the game, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, this game definitely, yeah, was like you said, sort of slower in that sense than I was expecting. Didn't think either team was going to score as few as 17 points, let alone the winning team. Um, I mean, yeah, that's it's really just that. We weren't expecting a super low scoring game. I would have expected more out of that Kansas City offense. I don't know exactly how much. Blanking on his name. Travis Kelsey played. I don't know. He seemed to have played enough. Like it's not their offense. I would have expected more out of against a Jaguars team that like is okay defensively. But who did they play? The Colts, I think it was, put up more points against them. That's not great. I know I saw a funny bit that there was a sequence of plays here that was something like Chiefs fumble, Jaguars fumble, Chiefs fumble back, and then Jaguars fumble again. Or it was
Yeah,
that sort of thing, which is tough, which is a tough sequence of plays there. But I mean, I think that's a good tone setter for the game. A good way to summarize it in
yeah. I
one
mean,
sentence.
Kansas City's defense played really well. A defensive line sacked Trevor Lawrence 4 times, which seemed to be a big difference in the game. But I do want to kind of talk about a little bit of what you were saying about these turnovers and kind of sloppy. 12 possessions in the first half. I'm going to go through them all right? Don't worry. It'll go fast. Ready? Punt, 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 field goal, fumble, fumble, interception, turnover on downs, and then touchdown field goal. Okay, so the first 10 possessions were, I'm not going to go through them again, but we had 5 punts to start this game against two of the supposed to be the best offenses with some of the best quarterbacks in the league, and this is what we have. And I I've already this is the second week I've been doing this, and we just talked about it. But if you don't commit to running the ball, or you can't commit to running the ball because you just the Jaguars got 3 yards a carry or something. They were not running the ball well. So I understand them maybe getting out of it. But Kansas City, I think they had 4.5 yards or 4.3 yards a carry, and they still only had 15 rushes. It was the exact same breakdown that the Bengals had. And these offenses say, you know what, we're just going to put it in our quarterback's hands, and they're going to throw it every time. But as you said, that means if you're going to throw it 75% of the time, that means that the defense can prepare for you throwing it 75% of the time. They can. The rushers know that they don't have to worry about the run. The secondary knows we don't have to move up. We can play coverage, right?
Yeah,
And it's not
you
just
play a lot of nickel dime sets as well.
right.
More
And
cornerbacks, like defensive backs.
it's not just like I looked at these possessions where these they ended in punts. You say, they're not rushing the ball, so they must be in large down and distances. Not necessarily. It's even when they're on that 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4. Both these teams are passing the ball, which is fine, but the defenses can predict and plan that you're going to be doing that because you do it so much. 75% of the time, you are going to be passing the ball. And I want to look at the statistics for next week looking into this, but I got to imagine the teams that are winning are running the ball well. And that's probably not a new thing, but what are we doing, right? What are we doing, Chiefs and Jags? Come on.
Yeah, this is technically a one-score game, 17-9. If Jaguars got one touchdown at the end there, land the 2-point conversion, game's tied. Right. This is not, even though it seems like a much wider score than it is, 17-9 and 2 touchdowns to no touchdowns, but it really wasn't that divided of a game. And yeah, I think that's where committing to the run in some of these cases could really perhaps make more of a difference there. Yeah.